Probably when I first got involved in esoteric things, I was your age, which is quite interesting because that's kind of quite a while back now. And I used to read tarot cards, which was quite interesting. And I actually, I used to go to festivals and things like that and have a little tent, and it was kind of like slightly incongruous to the fact that I didn't look like your typical kind of like fortune teller with the big hoop earrings and the scarf. So I think people were always slightly taken aback when they came in. So I kind of like got involved in esoteric things. How old are you? Just 26. 26.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was about your age when I first went to Germany and met Mike. And then it was weird because Germany is an incredibly spiritual land and people don't realise that. Well, holistic medicine came from Germany as well, and there's loads and loads of crystal healing over there and all kinds of stuff like that, so I was really involved in that side of it. And then we came back to the UK and I just totally kind of lost sight of it really, so that was kind of a bit of a shame. And I kind of came to, after a long kind of like route, I came back to it because I realised then that after my brother died, that was the reason that I kind of got back into it, was because I wasn't nourishing my body properly, I wasn't nourishing my mind, and I wasn't nourishing my spirituality, because I think that's kind of really, really vital. I think those three things you have to do everything, physically, spiritually, mentally, the whole works. It just doesn't work if you just decide I'm gonna kind of like build my body, and yeah, you'll probably have an amazing body, but you'll be lacking in other elements. So I think it's really, really vital that you take a holistic side of things. And so that's how I got into like the raw stuff. And then I kind of realised as well that I had to also do something physical. And I think it's part of the whole thing. And then, like I say, the spiritual side of it I think is as important, and the mental side of it again. You kind of like, nutrition is physically, spiritually, mentally. So that I don't read newspapers, I don't watch TV, I don't watch the news, I don't propagate the negativity that's abounding in the world. And it doesn't mean to say that I'm not aware of what's going on and I'm not kind of like in a bubble of, but I just don't see. I think we are energy beings, although we have the appearance of solidity, in real terms it's all about vibrations, and thoughts are equally as real as actual physical manifestations. And I think the way that the world's controlled today is because there's this kind of like perpetuality of negativity, and whenever you watch the news or read a headline or do any of that things, you give that particular worldview energy, and it perpetuates and it grows and it becomes a reality. And I think, I think people sometimes think that I'm a bit of a Pollyanna in terms of I have this very kind of optimistic outlook on life, and I strive to look for the best in everybody. And I think that if more people did that, I think we're very, very kind of conditioned into looking for people's faults and always kind of like seeing the negativity. And so I kind of, when I walk down the street, when I look at the people, it's because of this conditioning that we have. I always look for one element, regardless of whether they're really, really obese, because I mean, people are all shapes and sizes, and I think it's just really sad that we all have to be this like stick thing element. But whatever they look like, whatever they're dressed like, I always look at something and just pull out some positive element of them, because I think you just then give off this wonderful positive vibration constantly, and people can't but be affected by that. It's kind of, you just can't help but imprint that on everybody that you come across. And so it's really interesting because some people do get really offended by my optimism, and that always really surprises me, how people can kind of say, oh my gosh, why are you so happy? And I find that a really, really intriguing thing, that people can get annoyed at somebody who's quite positive. So yeah, that's one side. The nutritional side, I am close to fruitarian, but not a total fruitarian, because I know that we need minerals. So I kind of like looked at the 8 to 10 dial, which I find quite intriguing. And that's quite interesting, because the other thing is, I think a lot of people kind of latch onto these things as some holy grail, and then they identify their ego with them, and then they won't waver. And I've never been like that. I've always been very open to going where I'm directed, and so if I don't find that something's working with me, I won't keep doing it just because I kind of identify with that side of it. A raw foodie, because I really kind of find that term a bit, it's a bit icky. I really don't, I'm not comfortable with it, because it kind of, again, it puts people into pigeonholes and defines them in that sense, and I don't really find that a comfortable place to be. So I kind of call myself a conscious eater, and occasionally I'll eat brown rice, cooked brown rice if I feel I need something a bit heavier. Occasionally I'll eat goat's cheese if I feel that I need, you know, I listen to what my body's telling me basically and follow that through. So I'm not kind of raw foodie as such. I probably eat about 80% raw, and inadvertently eat things that I don't actually realize aren't raw. But I'm not going to kind of like beat myself up and think, oh gosh, it's really bad, I'm not 100%, because I'm not convinced that that's good either. Because I think if you get stressed out about what you're eating, that's equally as bad as just eating rubbish, really. So this is why I think meditation is absolutely essential. And in the background, I don't know if it will come over on the thing, is music by a chap called Michael, who's done Project Meditation, and he has done
I'm just putting it
a
on
website, and he does his own kind of binaural beats. It's got monaural tones and isochronic tones on there as well. And so with the binaural ones, you have to listen to them with a headset, because they pulse a vibrational frequency in each ear at a slightly variant level. So that's what changes the vibration in your brain. It sounds a bit scary actually that you're vibrating your brain, but that's basically your brain then tunes itself to this vibration, which is kind of either alpha, delta, theta or gamma. Betas are normal vibrational stems, although saying that beta's probably verging more towards when we're slightly agitated or slightly kind of like slightly hyped up. We're generally mostly in alpha, and there's different gradations. When you're in concentration, your alpha is slightly slower, and then you're moving down to theta and delta. I can never remember which way they go around. And then gamma's the other one that's kind of, and they're great for, what I do on a night is I go to sleep with Holosync, which is another, that's just binaural, so you have to listen to those with a headset. And so I fall to sleep listening to those, which they say you're not really meant to do, but it works for me, and it's a great way to kind of like put myself in a really, really good space just before I sleep.
Yeah. Why do they say that then?
I'm not quite sure what the reasoning behind it is, but I just naturally migrated, and I don't tend to follow rules, so for whatever reason, they're saying that I shouldn't do it. I don't know if I'm totally, you know, frying up my brain, but I don't think it is. I think it's because you start off at a slightly high, with Holosync you start off at a higher rate before you go into the meditation, and then it kind of like takes you down, and then it's called the dive and then immersion. And there's different gradations of immersion as you follow the course. And as you go down, you kind of like go down. So I suppose in a way, because you naturally fall into delta as you sleep anyway. So, and it's worked for me, and a lot of other people on forums and things have said that it works for them as well.